Up in the morning report, police are reporting 4 shot overnight. Chairman Adrian Gibson speaks to roadwork fines. And the Bahamas National Trust gets a big donation. Just one day out from the weekend and we're all geared up and ready to go. Good morning and welcome to the morning edition. I'm Jimenita Swain. Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean joins me in studio to get you all prepared for your day weather-wise. Good morning, Basil.
Good morning, Jimenita. That high pressure continues to dominate our weather, and that means it's suppressing our cloud development. And as we look outside of our studios on the ZNS Tower Camp, you can see just a few clouds floating around. Satellite picture also showing those clouds being advected from southeast to northeast, and that will bring a couple pockets of showers and maybe 1 or 2 brief showers during the course of the day. Outside of our studios, partly sunny, temperatures 74 degrees. Relative humidity at 85%. You have southeast winds at 12 miles per hour. The barometric pressure 1,020.1 millibars. That's 30.16 inches, and it is steady. Temperatures around the islands this morning, 75s in Marsh, Abaco, Green Toll Key. Also in Freeport, they're reporting 75 degrees, 77 in the Berry Islands, Alistown, Bimini at 75, 76 in Harbor Island, Rock Sandy, Luttrell 77, Otterstown, Cat Island 76, 76 extends into Staniel Key, Kemp Space on Andrus, and Fresh Creek in Central Andros. In San Salvador, it is 78, Rim Key 76 degrees, 77 in Clarencetown, Long Island, Crooked Island. That's Sea Bay 76, also Ackland 76, Ragged Island at 77, another 77 in Matthewtown, Inagua, and the Turks and Caicos Islands. Your boating forecast for today in the northwestern islands, southeast winds 12 to 18 knots, the wave heights 3 to 6 feet over the ocean. High tide, that will take place at 8:58 this morning, the low tide at 3:20 this afternoon. For the central and southeastern islands, caution flags are up for your boaters. Southeast winds 15 to 20 knots, choppy seas at 4 to 7 feet over the ocean. That's going to do it for your first look at weather in the morning edition. Stay tuned, your forecast for today and tonight is still ahead.
Thanks, Basil. Well, it looks like a great day shaping up. So now that you know what it's going to look like weather-wise, your commute will not be complete until you hear from our Vaughn Aubrey, who's standing by with your traffic report. Good morning, Vaughn.
Thank you very much, Jimenito. We are on Meeting Street near historic Bethel Baptist Church. Behind me, the intersection of West Street. Yesterday in the House of Assembly, the Roads Amendment Bill was passed. And if my cameraman Lyndon Smith can pan, this road in December was dug up. You know, traffic was impassable. But now this street has been repaved by those utility companies using it. However, on Meeting Street near West Street, you can see there are a lot of potholes here. And so cars are navigating and doing their best to try and pass along this way. With me, Corporal Miko Evans of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Tell us, is this a problem for police in terms of the motorists using the other lane to avert these potholes?
Good morning. Most definitely it is a problem. Sometimes the potholes may cause some drivers to stop suddenly, causing accident, causing the person in the back of them to collide into the back of them, and the front collide into them, or also it'll cause the drivers to leave their lane to try and get around the potholes, which can lead into head-on collisions sometimes.
And we have seen, you and I have seen standing here, a number of persons are just moving at an excessive speed here.
That is definitely the case. Once you approach this area, you definitely want to ride within the speed limit, and you also want to drive with due care and attention.
And I heard that car that just passed us, they can cause damage to cars.
Definitely. Going in excess of the speed limit, you can cause damage to your vehicle, or you can actually cause damage to the other road users.
Well, Corporal Miko Evans of the Royal Bahamas Police Force Traffic Division, when you're on these streets, particularly this street at this intersection, West and Meeting Streets, go slowly and think of others. Back to you in the studio, Jimenita.
Well, thanks, Vaughn. Now to our top story this morning. Police are investigating the country's latest homicide after 4 persons were shot in a drive-by incident last night. Police say gunshots were reported just after 9 at Lightbourne Avenue in the Yellow Elder Gardens community. Chief Superintendent Solomon Cash was on scene and provided preliminary information to reporters on the incident.
who was shot multiple times, 3 males and 1 female. EMS was called, who conveyed 3 of those victims to the hospital, and the 4th victim drove himself to the hospital. We were informed shortly thereafter that one of those persons has succumbed to those injuries. So now we are investigating the country's latest homicide, coupled with the 3 attempted murder of the other 3 victims. The only thing we can tell you is that shortly before that time, some vehicle drove to this corner, saw these persons who were outside one of the residents here, opened fire on them. As a result, they were shot multiple times.
Well, from Parliament, Chairman of the Water and Sewerage Corporation, Adrian Gibson, says he will ensure that the corporation does not incur a $10,000 fine. The fine is a result of the amendments to the Road Act. He says utility companies will now be encouraged to work together. However, he shared what will occur at the Water and Sewerage Corporation to prevent falling into the crosshairs of attracting that fine if in contravention to the Road Act Amendment 2019.
Is that once a WSC team completes work and returns to the JFK compound, all of their completed work orders are closed in city works. And if road reinstatement is required, a road reinstatement work order is generated and forwarded to the road reinstatement coordination team. The road reinstatement coordination team then visits the site, measures and marks out the work to be done, and returns to the office. Works are then batched and assigned to contractors on a rotational and availability basis, but that takes too long. So going forward, Mr. Speaker, it is mandated that work orders will be immediately generated. We don't want to pay that $10,000 fine, Minister. We will be sourcing additional handhelds for the same to be closed in the field upon completion. Mr. Speaker, the present Ministry of Public Works target is that the main road should be reinstated within 48 hours of excavation.
Further, he says almost $1 million was expensed on roadworks by the corporation.
Mr. Speaker, in 2018, road reinstatement contractors executed approximately $975,000 worth of road reinstatement work for WSC. These works were executed by 20 different contractors at the present reinstatement rate of $5 per square foot, which was set by WSC some years ago. The bulk, that is 97%, of the $975,000 in work is attributed to 3 principal operations at the corporation, namely waste and leaks, or leakage control, mains renewals and long service connections, and new water connections. Waste and leaks took 46%, mains renewals 27%, and new water connections 24%. If the member for East Grand Bahamas was here, given our budgetary cut last year, Minister, I would have told him that undoubtedly we would need additional funds this budget to supplement our collections drive and our efforts to cut waste and imbue this culture of efficiency at the corporation.
In other news, in North Andrus, Member of Parliament Carlton Bowleg recently spoke to upgrades on that island and what they're expecting in the near future. Bowleg said that 2 main advancements made recently was in road and water infrastructure.
Most of the work that is being done in the island here is the roadworks, and we about I'll say about 70% complete in that, and the people are now enjoying it. So we have a lot of businesses around here, and with the road being the way it was previously, it slowed down a lot of the businesses in making any kind of money, and it stopped the island basically from moving because the people didn't want to get their vehicles broken up. The other major issue was our water. Whether you believe it or not, we had to get new infrastructure with pipe laying and stuff going down, and gratefully I can hear everyone every day talking about the water pressure now after 40-odd years. So that is a great accomplishment.
Well, Bowleg also explained how the Bamsey poultry farm investment is expected to tie into helping the island's economy.
The most important thing is employment. Business is only going to make money if people have it. And one of the things that we're doing really is trying to move in a direction where people can be their own entrepreneurs. And greatly, I can say that out of Bamsey right now coming into place, and we have just bought a new, passed a new investment that is going to be taking place in very short order with a poultry farm here in North Andrus, and we're looking forward to another big investor coming in here. When I tell you I talk with enthusiasm, I'm talking with hope, because I believe in what is going to take place, and I'm trusting God and know that it's going to be okay.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back in studio, we're going to be talking about SelfWorth with Dr. Kenneth Roma. You don't want to miss it. You're watching The Morning Edition. Welcome back. Dr. Kenneth Roma, coach, trainer, speaker, and organizational development specialist, joins us this morning, and we're going to be talking about self-esteem and knowing your self-worth. Good morning, Dr. Roma. Tell us, describe self-esteem. Why is that such a major challenge right now?
Well, first of all, it's so good to be on set with you. When I woke up this morning, the first thing I did was felt my pulse. And I said if I could still feel my pulse, I could still fulfill my purpose. So I think when it comes to self-worth or self-esteem, it's us having the ability to live out our purpose, to understand our true value, understanding what life looks for us by living it on the next level. You know, I've had the wonderful chance to coach many organizations and individuals, and I'm discovering right now that for many of these individuals, the challenge is that they are not thinking about the long-term outcomes. They're seeing themselves to the eyes of others as opposed to seeing themselves to the eyes of their own purpose and the eyes of their own potential. So what I'm discovering is that if we are to live our lives to the next level, we've got to lift the lids of our own thinking. We are limited by the thoughts that we think. The challenge I'm discovering is that there were so many individuals, same environment, but different endings. Okay. Same opportunities, different outcomes. And the difference between those who win and those who lose is that persons who lose make deals with the voices in their head that simply say to them that they can't. So self-worth is really saying to yourself that you can do it. You're adding value to your own life. You are determined right now to live your life on the next level. What I tell persons when it comes to your own self-worth, there are two concepts I like to encourage our persons to employ. The first thing is add value to your own life. Okay. Take responsibility, add it to your own life. Every single day, I have 1,440 minutes deposited into my own bank account. That's my minutes, all right? And now what I do with those minutes right now is a reflection of how I value my own life. We need to value ourselves, make every minute count. Your present condition is not your final conclusion. It doesn't matter where you are right now. The important thing is understanding where you're going, add value to your own life, and then secondly, add value to the life of somebody else.
Now, obviously, that's self-worth. Now, some persons also struggle with having low self-esteem. So how do they transform that and boost themselves up?
When it comes to self-esteem, again, self-esteem is a cognitive discussion. And again, it goes again to the way that we think. It's amazing how our own thinking could kind of either lift our lives or limit our own lives. So you have to have conversations with yourselves. You can't expect others right now to determine their own worth or value. I determine my own worth, I determine my own value, and most of that is intrinsic. So I say to persons suffering with self-esteem issues, begin to have a conversation with yourselves. Where do you see yourselves 10, 15, 20 years from now? Where do you see yourself at the end of this month? Begin to take the journey towards your long-term goals by making deliberate and intentional steps. Self-esteem is a matter of intentional living. Live intentionally, and you'll always get to where you want to go in life.
So basically, self-actualization is important as
Maslow says it that way. Self-actualization is a pyramid where you begin to look at your basic needs first. Take care of yourself. Self-preservation is very important. Before I put my own mask on others, I'm putting it on myself. Preserve yourself and just continue with the journey now towards self-actualization.
Now, in this day and time, we often have instances where social media, we have people bullying us. How do we address being dragged down by others as it relates to being bullied? How do we handle that?
I'll tell you what I do. I have a young child, also a young son, actually a daughter and a young son. What I did early on, I had him every morning look inside the mirror, and I asked him, tell me who you are. And he's saying, I'm Harper Roma. I'm Harper Roma. As a parent, I was deliberate right now in helping him to identify who he is. Nobody could bully you if you know your worth and your value. It's intrinsic.
Well, Dr. Roma, thanks so much for joining us this morning. We hope to see you back on the morning edition sometime again soon, but it was wonderful having you with us this morning. Now, in other news, concerned about the sustainability of the local marine environment, real estate company Andrus donated $10,000 to the Bahamas National Trust Wednesday. The announcement was made during a press conference at the Montague Beach dock. Andrus broker Colin Lightbourne explained what he felt led the donation.
They have an amazing, resource in scientists that do a lot of research and advise and know more about the habits and the life cycles of these species. So, I'm confident in what they discover and the recommendations they make.
Now, in efforts to conserve conch for future generations, the Bahamas National Trust officials said that they will be using the funds for their conservation campaign to bring awareness to the general public by helping everyone to recognize the importance of the environment and also to assist law enforcement on making sure certain areas and species remain guarded and protected. BNT President Janet Johnson gave these remarks.
So we're here at the ramp at Montague. And as you can see, I have a lovely Scotch conch. So as the National Trust, we're not here to stop people from having their favorite conch dish. And so it's the amenities that are going to make the Bahamas special. And it's the nature that we need to appreciate as Bahamians here in our country.
Now you see Charles Fisher joining me on studio. What's going on with you, Campbell? You look a little sharp this morning.
Nice conversation with Dr. Romy. Said that when he wakes up in the morning, he feels his pulse. I got to start feeling my mouth because I don't know what I'm going to say for the rest of the day. My mouth gets
well, they tell the little children, put your finger on your lips. Sometimes you need to practice that.
Coming up in sports, a lot of Hugh Campbell action last night over there at the AF Alley Gym. I didn't see you last night out to support your Grand Bahamas schools. They were looking for you. Hopefully you'll come in there tonight.
Definitely. Well, you're watching the morning edition. There is more to come. Stick with us.
Good morning, it's time for sports. We enter day 4 of the 37th Hugh Campbell Basketball Tournament at the AF Alley Gym. Last night, two-time defending champs Tabernacle Baptist Falcons getting off to a flying start, taking on Bahamas Elite Academy. The Falcons jumped out to a 27-19 lead at the half. This game had the fans on their feet with many exciting plays on both ends of the court. Falcons defense wasn't bad either, scoring 15 points of turnovers, and it was the Falcons up 45-27 after 3. The champs not letting up in the fourth as they cruised to a 55-36 win.
Well, I think the team came out knowing that, we had to win. You don't want to lose the first game in the tournament. We executed, played great defense, and the defense was the key tonight. Defense led the offense and gave us easy baskets, and I just thank God for the win.
Now the number 2 team in the country and the Grand Bahama champions, St. George's Jaguars, showing why they will be one of the teams to watch. The Jags made it look easy against Patrick J. Bethel of Abaco, 18-4 after 1, 32-13 at the break, put more on the board, 49-19 after 3, and fly to a 62-22 win. And Coach Darrell says, still feels there are work to be done.
It was a little up and down for me as a coach. I mean, we always seek for perfection. I think you know that as well. Defensively is more what I was concerned about. You know how these kids go. They're all trying to put their name in the book from a point standpoint. So we were trying to curve that type of attitude. We wanted them to play for each other and make the best shot for the team. But we wanted to make a statement defensively more than anything. I think we held the team to 20 points. That's what we intended to do.
Now the government school champs Doris Johnson Mystic Ballons breaking out the new checkerboard unis. Looking good, you play good. Sierra Walker Knights ran into a team determined to bring the trophy back to New Providence, and that spelled trouble with a capital T. This game never in doubt as the Marlins take it 53-31.
Come out and execute. I think we had pretty good ball movement and offense, so I think that really set the tone for the game for us. As the game progressed, the guys got their legs under them, started to hit some shots, played good defense, so that's all I'm asking for them at the end of the day.
Agape Christian out of Abaco taking on a Catherine in this one. This one was close at the half, 23-21 Agape. In the third, an 8-zip run allowed Abaco to go up 42-29 after 3, and good start for the boys in blue, 57-45, and they are into the winners bracket.
We played them early in the year, we beat them, and we thought we'd beat them again, but I don't know, they were just nervous. But it was a good first win, like you said, so hopefully we'll shake off those first game jitters and play better tomorrow against Anethol.
And we saved the best for last. The Temple Christian Suns giving the Rattlers of C.I. Gibson more than they expected. C.I. thought they had this one in the bag going up early in the first half, only to see the Suns come back to cut the lead to within one. Down the stretch, the Rattlers will put off the scale 63-60.
We really have to thank God for the victory because He bring us through. But all we do is play harder and we keep going. They end up running out of gas and that's it.
Now the schedule for the day will be like this. At 10 o'clock, Anatole Rogers against Agape. 11 o'clock, Prince Will take on Jack Hibbert. Your noon game, Tellus against St. George's. And at 1 o'clock, CC against 8 Maroc. They break and come back with the elimination game. Lose and you go home. Mount Carmel fighting to stay alive against Gateway. 3 o'clock, Charles W. Sanders against Patrick J. Behu. 4 o'clock, St. John's against Century Lutheran. And at 5 o'clock, Zion Baptist Academy against Catherine. Those all playing out of the losers bracket. And that's going to do it for sports. It's a busy day once again for the ZNS Total Sports Department. Keep us in your prayer.
In our final look at weather, our weather pattern has not changed all week long, but there is a weak front system heading our way. We'll get in here sometime late Sunday night going into Monday morning. Satellite pictures just showing a few clouds floating from southeast to northeast across the 700 hours of the Bahamas. And our forecast for today calls for partly sunny with a moderate breeze, a slight shower likely. High temperature getting up to about 83 degrees. And tonight, just a few clouds remaining mild with your low temperature around 73 degrees and extended weather forecast mid-80s right through the weekend. But that frontal system, as you said, will go through sometime late on Sunday, heading into Monday morning, and those temperatures remaining a little mild. We'll see some 60s by the middle of next week. Jim Anita?
Thanks, Basil. Well, that's going to do it for the morning edition today. Make sure to join us tonight at 6 for the start of our national newscast. I'm Jiminita Swain. Make it a great day, everyone.